Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of my podcast interviews. And today I'm very excited to have Stell Health, who is an authority in helping career women overcome binge and overeating using her signature quit binge eating formula. From a background in business analytics, Estelle now leads various programs on changing mindsets around eating and healthy food choices. And she supports her clients to cultivate healthy eating habits and builds good trust with food. As a holistic health coach, Estelle infuses yoga, mindfulness, and energy medicine into her consultations with clients. And she's passionate about holistic health. She sees yoga as a therapy for the mind and soul, considering herself fortunate to facilitate yoga experiences. Estelle's sessions encourage clients to dive into self-transformation in health practices such as positive mindset, yoga, and meditation. So amazing. Thank you, Estelle, for joining us. You sound a lot like my own background in holistic health and coaching as well. So welcome.
Thank you, Ailey. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me, what made you change your business into going from in the corporate as a business analyst into, sort of health and healing and coaching?
Yeah, beautiful question. And we could probably be here all day, but I'll try and keep it short. So I struggled with my own relationship with food for over 13 years. 13 years ago, I was in a non-caring relationship with food. I had various health issues. I was quite heavily overweight. And I smoked a lot of cigarettes, but I basically live off coffee and cigarettes during the day. And then at nighttime, I would eat, but I couldn't stop eating. And, from that, it kind of started triggering binge eating behaviors. In 2007, I decided that I wanted to be on a healthy path. I was getting married, and I didn't want to be start my marriage being unhealthy. So I started eating healthier. I started running. I got into a space where I started feeling better, and I started losing some weight. And unfortunately, because I saw the weight loss results, I only started focusing on weight loss. And so my journey started from about 2009 all the way up until 2017. My health journey has always been about how much weight I can lose, how much weight I can, how many calories I can burn. And through that, my behavior around food became more serious when it came to binge eating, to the point where I became orthorexic, which is an unhealthy obsession with eating healthy, to try and curb my binge eating.
Yeah.
So I struggled with this while still managing a challenging career. I loved what I did in the corporate world as an analyst. I was, quite good at, finding issues, fixing them. I was good with data. So kind of already had that analytical skills. But in 2015, I actually developed a blood clot on my brain. And in that moment, I knew something had to change. I had to change my life. First of all, I had to fix my own relationship with food. And that's also the pivotal moment where I realized that my service is not in businesses, it's in helping other women like heal what I've been going through. So basically that's the why, and kind of from there I started looking into options on how to get on this path of healing, and been on that ever since.
Yeah, so you mentioned briefly about how, losing weight is not just about the calories that you consume, and sort of people, when they lose weight, I see it with my own clients, they look at a figure and they look at a number. It's like, I have to get to this number. So what are your tips? Because it's not always about, okay, if you're 100 kilos, you want to get to 70 kilos. If you haven't got all the other things and all the tools that come with, like you said, being positive and having a different direction, and also trust with food, we'll touch on each of those topics. but that is all, it's all part of the picture, isn't it? You can't just go, okay, calories in and then you're expecting to lose weight. Even if people are having like an apple a day or a carrot a day, if they haven't got all the other things, that support them, even if you're just, having like a cucumber or a carrot a day, you still might not lose the weight. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason for that is if you are only eating that much, you are adding, or that little, you are putting your body under severe strain. And the body's going to hold on. Your metabolism is going to shut down, no matter what diet guru tells you about, that celery soup diet or, like the chewing gum diet.
So many diets now, isn't it? Like it's even like, just the air, you could just be, just taking in air and expect to lose weight or something. It's always a new fad diet.
So what you're doing is you slowing down your metabolism, first of all, which is not great for you to for any of your bodily functions, not just for weight loss aesthetics. But you will store a lot of energy in the body. And unfortunately, that's going to appear like in ways, you'll probably find that in your belly a lot and in the hips because your body's trying to survive. The other thing you're doing is you are adding so much stress on your nervous system. And if there's any stress, like if we can't manage our stress and we already live in a very stressful world, if we start adding that stress, being very restrictive in our foods and what we eat, that's just going to add more stress. And I'm sure and you deal a lot with your clients about managing cortisol levels. The minute we have cortisol in our systems, that unfortunately is going to make us crave and think crazy pastry thoughts probably all day.
So what makes people start binge eating, and what is the definition of binge eating, so people understand, okay, am I just eating more than usual, or am I actually binging on food?
Yeah, so binge eating, to me, like the technical term of binge eating is where you are just eating a over I can't remember the word now, but a larger than normal amount of food, and this can last like one meal, or it could last a couple of days. So you're exceeding your calories by quite a lot. However, what I've seen in my work and my own personal experience is binge eating is not just about the act of eating. It's how you behave around food. Are you thinking about food all the time? Are you hiding food? Are you sneaking it in? Are you rushing it in? All those are symptoms of binge eating, because we have, I think, the being hungry nowadays is so fashionable, and it comes back to, being on whatever diet you are. It's like, oh no, just leave food on your plate, don't, or just eat 1,000 calories a day or whatever the case is. We don't realize how that hunger actually drives us. And so binge eating very, very often comes from just hunger, actually.
So now that you mentioned that, what are some tips that people can do to try to curb that hunger and to help with the stress? Because stress is a driver for a lot of, overeating. And also, I think we're in such a rush these days. Like I've noticed now, in sort of the last 10, 20 years, we don't actually take the time to sit down and have a lunch meal. I think last year being everyone working from home maybe was slightly better. I don't know how people's health were, but we're in the corporate office, you can go all day, and then by 2:00 you realize you haven't eaten something, or you're eating on the run, or people are rushing to work. They're running late, so they're not at home. They just grab something quick on the way. Whereas I think last year might have been a bit more relaxing, with people able to eat breakfast, and their lunch. But normally, if we start going back to the office, people are in such a rush that they don't take that time to really sit down and absorb the food and absorb the nutrients and be in that sort of mindset. And that, what do you think about that, Estelle?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my experience as well. Like I never had time for lunch breaks. I would rush sit at my desk and eat my food while I'm looking at a stressful email. And I don't know, the energetics of eating while you stress just adds more stress onto the
Yeah. Yeah, the state we're in while we're trying to scoff all the food down.
Yeah, and even when you're scoffing food down, and even if you like, breath is such a vital, important ingredient to digestion. If we're not breathing and we're not chewing,
yes,
you might as well, even if you're eating a healthy salad, you're wasting your time almost.
That's right.
Because it's just like your body can't digest it because it's not in the right, it's not getting to the stomach the way it should.
Yeah, it all starts from the teeth. They mentioned something like if you're eating red meat, to be chewing at least 30 to 40 times to
At
absorb it. And
least.
that also puts less strain on our digestive system. So when it starts digesting in the mouth, it's in smaller portions instead of just scoffing it down and expecting our stomach muscles to break down such a big protein. So what else can people do to help with sort of binge eating and overeating? What else is important? So we've mentioned that taking that time to sit down and have a proper meal. What else? What other tips?
Making sure that you do take that time to have a proper meal without distractions can really help you. If you slow down the eating process as well, that will help with digestion, but it will also emotionally help you realize and feel satisfied that you've actually eaten. If we're
eating slowly,
rushing,
if you're eating slowly, your head will tell your stomach when you're fuller, quick, after a certain length of time, rather than if you're scoffing it down. The brain hasn't made that connection, has it?
And that's why we have so many sugar cravings after a meal. You could be stuffed and you're like, oh, why am I craving cake, or why am I craving ice cream after this massive meal? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's because we've rushed it down, and there's just like no time it takes like 20 minutes for the body to realize that it is actually full and satiated. So if you rush down your food, it's never going to think that it's full. Which is not great. So making sure that you do take your time with meals. Also honoring, I call it honoring your hunger. So making sure that if you are living a busy life, make sure that you have snacks prepared or your meals prepared, ready to go, so that when you do feel any signs of hunger, that you actually honor that and eat something. We all often think, oh, well, I can wait. But that's often if you go, I can wait all day, and you get to the evening time, that's often what triggers most people.
You're having a huge dinner, aren't you? Yeah, very big dinner, and you've rushed it down because you're so hungry, you haven't spent the time to eat when you're supposed to eat.
Yeah. So that's really important. And then we touched on this earlier, but finding ways to calm down your nervous system. And
you being a yoga teacher, that's so important. Like, people don't do enough stretching and mindfulness and exercise in the right way. So how can that help?
We think that, I'm a massive fan of running, so I'm not bashing running, but we think, oh, okay, if I just do a massive cardio exercise, then that should be it for the day. But if that's the only movement you do during the day, and all you're doing is sitting at your desk all day, unfortunately, you are placing a lot of stress on your body. So movement throughout the day, even at your desk, is really important. Getting the neck to move, even just in between emails, or rolling the shoulders, taking a twist, folding forward. I like to tell my clients while everyone was working from home, we all back to kettles, not urns, or fancy things in the office. While that's going, either do some jumping jacks, or a good yoga stretch, even a yin yoga pose, something that's nice and stretching and relaxing. It will just close down your eyes if you can,
Yeah.
If you can't afford that, then just get up, go stand by a window, look out into the open, let your eyes see.
Get some proper sunlight, isn't it?
Some
natural
sunlight into the eyes, but also there's a lot of stress that we feel when we only have tunnel vision. And unfortunately, we create tunnel vision by looking just in one direction. So take a 5-minute break, sip your tea mindfully, and just stare out into nothing, and you can think whatever you want. But little things like that can really be helpful to start bringing the nervous system down. Obviously, I teach a lot of mindfulness tools like meditation and breath work. All those things can be helpful as well.
So let's touch a bit on food. The whole topic is around food. What sort of things should people be eating so that they're not then looking to overeat, and what sort of snacks do you recommend for people? Because that's a big question I get asked as well. What's a healthy snack? How should I be eating? And is everyone the same, or is everyone different?
And my answer to that always is it depends. And here's where, if we slow down in our meals, we can start noticing how food affects us. And from that, you can start noticing what foods give you energy and which ones kind of make you feel sluggish, or which ones, upset your digestive system, or, just, but, if you wanted to add a little bit of healthy snacks into your life, you can never go wrong with fruit and vegetables.
That's right.
And, I know people are always on about, well, I can't afford organic, and, don't worry about whether it's organic. If you can get organic, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But rather get the nutrients from those veggies in, or the fruit in, than going, oh no, I have so many rules around how I must eat my fruit that I'd rather eat a sandwich, or I'd rather not eat anything. So that's always great. Veggie sticks and hummus is a great one. Handful of nuts, with pairing that with a fruit or yogurt. It could be either dairy or non-dairy. Depending on your constitution. Again, this is all depending on what people are going through. Some people work well with high, a little bit more sugar, like a bit of a protein bar or something like that. Other people feel like that's draining for them. So it really just, if you start bringing mindfulness into how certain snacks and certain foods make you feel, well, you will start noticing, that shake this morning, I was hungry and I had cravings like an hour later, or that shake this morning, it made me feel amazing. It can go either way. So experiment and, ignore what everyone else, and ignore the noise, like I like to say. Ignore what everyone else is saying and come back to what works for you.
Yeah. So basically, with the new year coming up, what are basically some things that we can do to accept our bodies? And some people, it is a self-esteem thing. And before they start the journey, they have to accept that this is the road they're going to take. They have to start falling in love with themselves and trust food and work on their own stresses and some emotional trauma that might have happened in the past that have led to that. What are some things that we can do to accept the way they are, and to make those small changes throughout the new year, so that we can start working towards our goals?
Yeah, absolutely. Our bodies, no matter what it looks like, we can't be stuck with it. It's a relationship that we can't get rid of. And I would personally rather be friends with my body. I'd be more accepting of my body than every day standing in the mirror, saying, I hate this, I don't like that. I pick at it throughout the day. So for me, it's starting to befriend your body, see your body, and notice how you talk about your body.
Yeah,
do you
the
make
language,
jokes about,
isn't it?
it's like, oh, I'm wearing my fat pants, or, are you making jokes
The
at
language,
your expense? I think you also got a lot of NLP background.
Yeah, it's very important, the language and the talk, the self-talk, isn't it?
Yeah. So once we start noticing how we actually talk to one another or ourselves, ask yourself, is this how you would talk to if you have a child? Would you talk to your child like that? Or would
I have
you
a
talk to your
child.
best
I have
friend?
2 children.
Would
How
you
I
say
talk
that
to
to your
my
best
2-year-old?
friend?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Would you say that to any small little child? No, you wouldn't, because that would crush them. And if you are saying that to yourself daily, you are crushing yourself, and that always affects your self-esteem.
Yeah.
It
creates a vicious cycle, doesn't it? You need to learn to break the cycle, accept your body, and start giving yourself some loving words and loving affection.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
important. Yeah.
So the other one, like I said, is discovering the joy in movement. So New Year's, we always like, oh, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to run so many kilometers, and I'm going to burn X amount of calories every day because, you know, I want to fit into my size 6 and whatever pants or whatever the case is. We all have that, or we've all had that. So discover joy in movement. And what that means is finding movement throughout the day, like we were talking about earlier. So making sure that you get a little bit of stretching in, that will give your body joy or reduce the stress. But then also finding things that you love doing in the form of exercise. If that's a walk, you know, then that's amazing. If that's like extreme, you know, CrossFit or whatever, if that brings you joy, then absolutely go for that.
That's so important, because I'm the same. Like, I hate going to the gym, but I love dance class. So I do 2 dance classes a week, and I go for a short run around the block or something. But we do need to exercise. And yeah, it's so true. We need to find something we're passionate about. If you love to dance, go and dance. It doesn't have to be restricted to going to the gym to lift weights. If that's not what you want to do, and you can't see yourself doing that day in, day out, like, you know, we're looking at long-term exercise, aren't we? Like, people say, oh, I've got to make a New Year's goal and I've got to now start going to the gym. But if you're not a gym person, how long is that going to last? You know, you might go for a week, hey, and then you'll end up like wasting your membership because you're not making the most of gym. Or you find a class at the gym that you like, you know, whether it's Zumba or something that keeps you moving. But we do sit more than we should. And with last year, you know, working from home with most people, you know, smoking, sitting is the new smoking. It just caused so much stress in the body to build up, especially if we're not getting up. I say, like, put a timer on your clock or on your phone, and every hour or every half an hour, get up and move around, even if you just jump out of your seat and do like 5 star jumps or something like that, isn't it? Just moving.
Yeah. So when we move our bodies, we bring our energy away from our thinking mind back into the body. So there's this connect. It's like we said, there's this benefit to the nervous system, but you also, when you exercise, when you move your body freely, you actually connect with your body again. You notice muscles, you notice your skin, you notice just those things, and that's how we start building a relationship. Is to you know, sometimes in our minds the body is not real, we just the mind. But through movement we actually bring ourselves back into that connection that we are body as well, not just mind.
It's all about mind body, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the last one is embracing your body as it is now. You know, we always saying, if I lose X amount, I will be happy. If I you know, if I get fit and I run my PB in a marathon, then I will be happy. But we placing so much energy on the future, and the future we have no control over. That might never happen. And if like, that's a huge gamble.
That's right.
But also it's emotionally, we are wasting the time we have with what we've got right now, you know, and having the body that we have right now is perfect for you in this moment. Doesn't matter what it looks like. You know, that might sound crazy to some people, but it is. If you think about how amazing our bodies are, the like chemical things.
You're still functioning, you're still living, right?
It
still
does
walking around. It does,
It does so many things automatically. You don't even have to think about it. You know, it's like this absolute supercomputer type thing, or even like, you know, more complex. And that is such an amazing thing to have, an amazing gift. So the more we can embrace that and embrace our bodies. I'm not saying you have to go from, oh, I hate my body, to I love it, but, you know, being appreciative of
just appreciate that it's working for you, right? You're living, your heart is pumping, you're alive, and just you know, you're on this earth, and to accept it. So true. That's such a good point. That we do have to just accept who we are right now. We can start making steps in changing certain things about it, but right now, you have to just go, look, it served me really well up until now. You know, you may not, you know, be, you know, a fan of some bits of it, but you can start working towards, you know, small steps and small goals. But without first accepting how much it's doing for you first, then it's going to be hard. If you're not in rapport with your body, you know, you're disconnected from it basically.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Amazing. So what's one last tip that these listeners could take away from them to basically get them onto that journey of having that trust with food and having that love of really eating for, you know, basically for your body? It's like a fuel, really. So you think about everything we're eating. It's, if you think of what it's going to do to serve your body in its, you know, highest power, and everything will go to the body for a reason. Like your body is such an amazing vehicle, that, you know, it knows exactly what to do with what you put in your mouth. So what is the one last tip that people can do to, you know, with food, and to trust themselves and to trust food and the whole process of eating?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think we've touched on, society and how we've got so many gurus out there about, what foods are good for you. If I actually heard like a really good saying from Esther Hicks the other day,
I love Esther
where
Hicks.
she was saying, if I'm surprised that you actually have foods to eat. If you read all the books and literature about foods and what to eat and what not to eat, there's almost hardly anything left, because every single food has been made an enemy somewhere along the line.
Yeah, someone will say something bad, even about an apple, even, I'm sure.
Yeah, too much sugar in an apple, or whatever
Yeah.
the case is, like not enough vitamin C.
Yeah.
Just joking, I don't know. But if we keep listening to that outside noise, we're going to be paranoid about what we eat. And that paranoia puts us into I shouldn't be eating this.
Yeah.
And what do we do when I say I shouldn't? You add fear into that food,
Stress and
or
fear.
into that. And when we say that, that's when we end up overeating, because it's like, well, I shouldn't, so I'm going to sneak this, or I'm going to like have extra because I'm not allowed to have this. Whereas if you embrace and have an attitude of I allow myself all foods, and then experiment with which ones make you feel good and which ones work with your body, that's going to serve you a lot better, And
it's definitely true. It's all about that guilt and the fear when you're eating something. Oh, I shouldn't be doing it. But, no one's perfect, and we're all human. And, I do sneak in that chocolate biscuit, or, I love a few Tim Tams here and there. But if you eat and go, oh, this is such a good cookie, you don't eat it too often, but you appreciate, when you do eating it, instead of being guilty about that one piece every now and again, it's about, oh, okay, no, appreciating the food and go, okay, it's all about the mindset towards what you're eating. It could even be a carrot or a fruit, like you said, like even with the fruit, people go, oh, it's too much sugar in this, I shouldn't be. But it's all that whole notion around how you're feeling when you're putting that in your mouth. It could be anything from fruit to like ice cream or cookies, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And often when I say that to my clients, or to my audience, they're like, but like, what do I do instead? When you start losing that restrictive thinking on food, you will start hearing what your body needs, and you're going to want the salad as much as you are going to feel like an ice cream every now and then. So it really just restores balance in like what our bodies actually need, and what our cravings will give us.
It's so true. We don't listen to our bodies enough these days. I think, we put our bodies in, the power of doctors and other people. But if we really listen to what it really needs, it always tells us and always gives us clues and talks to us, doesn't it? People think we're crazy when we say that, but it does. It gives us signs.
Absolutely. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. All right, Estelle, it's been so good chatting to you. We could chat for a lot longer. I'm sure we could come up with so many different topics. We talk about just food alone, and the importance of food and what we should be eating. That could take hours already in itself. But I'm sure that everyone's picked up a couple of really good tips. So we thank you again for coming on to the interview today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Estelle.
Bye.
Bye.